good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the hell you want to say it. As always, I am Carol, known as Guardian on the interwebs. I'm joined by Carole, known as Kodalea.
Good morning.
I'm also joined by Lisa, known as Talia Little Vid.
Hello, everybody.
And I don't know, do we have some kind of like Imperial Death March music? Because, oh my god, it's my turn. It's my turn.
We can hum it.
You're going to the gallows.
Oh my
It makes me think of Lego Star Wars when you push R2-D2 off the cliff and he like squeals like that. It's pretty fun. Try it.
I shall.
I had no idea that you could do that, and I don't know the games. I didn't play those, but okay then. That if I ever get them, that's something I should do. Oh, by the way,
it's super amusing.
No, happy 4th. May the 4th. May the Schwartz. Oh wait, wrong one.
Tomorrow.
Be with you.
May the 4th is tomorrow.
Yes,
I always mean to put one of those like really clever memes on my Facebook, and then I never do. So I'll count this as our meme. How about that?
Works for me.
Yep.
Speaking of Christine Morgan, I got your package. It was awesome.
Oh, you bought from her online garage sale?
Yes, I did. I got a large Broadway, tiny Bronx, couple Pog packs, and a set of the playing cards. I figured, those you got to have those. So yeah, I'm excited. So it came in. It was a nice wrapped package. I opened it up and I see this box. This is a Gargoyles box. She put it in a Gargoyle shoebox. It was freaking awesome.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude,
that's like an extra bonus.
It's awesome enough. So, Christine, thank you as always. I thank you for doing business with me. I hope I didn't piss you off too much because I'm crazy and stupid sometimes. I actually paid for the wrong amount. I feel absolutely horrible. I sent her one amount. She goes, you still owe me. And I go, oh shit, I looked at the wrong number in the conversation. Let me do that real quick. So, yay, PayPal. Thank you for PayPal. Morgan is still advertising her yard sale. That's what you call it, an online yard sale. Let me see here.
That's what I was just going to ask, if it was still up and running, because I seriously want to go take a look. I own a lot of this stuff, so I felt like I needed to give other people a chance, but now I want to go see what's left. While you're doing that, I also want to give a shout out. I meant to mention this during our Roar part of the podcast part 1. But Christy Smith Hayden I'm sorry, I said the name wrong. Christy Smith Hayden has been active again on Facebook with a lot of her gargoyle art. And I did read that she's continuing Koji. So if you've been a fan of her fan fiction like I have, go check that out because her work is amazing. I know she's created a lot of the fanning characters that we all grew up, but honestly, when I was younger, that was one of the people that I always waited to post something new. I always waited for something from Mommy Spike. And as soon as something came on, it was like my day was made. So if you don't know who I'm talking about, or if you have been waiting for her, she's back. Go check her out.
It looks like Christine Morgan still has stuff available. We'll go ahead and send you the link to her main website, and you can poke around, see if there's anything that tickles your fancy. Drop her a line, and she'll get back to you.
Awesome. I'm going shopping after this. No, I'm kidding. No, really, I am. I tell myself I'm not, but I am. And then the last bit of news that I'm going to bring up, we did it on the Kickstarter. The Reign of the Ghosts Kickstarter audio play will be happening. They met their goal and actually exceeded it by quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's actually a little bit of an extension going on, and I didn't have time to check out all the details because I'm a terrible podcast host, but it does sound like, for each increment of money that they earn now, some additional things will be added as part of the audio play. So I really encourage people to go check out. If you haven't contributed, go contribute because there's still a goal that they're trying to reach. And I think it's just a wonderful project. We get to hear all of our beloved Gargoyles voice actors again. It's, encouraging Greg Wiseman to continue being the creative genius he is, and it also gives Christopher Jones, a very talented artist, a lot of things to do because he's been doing the cover art from what I've seen, and it sounds like they're going to do some digital comics, so keep those people busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we could still give money to the project. I thought it was over.
The Kickstarter for the audio play got an extension.
Oh.
They maxed, I think the max out was 54,000 plus, and what they were looking for originally was at 48. Is that what they were looking for? Or 43? 43, I think. But they maxed out at 54 plus. The last time I looked, it looked like people were still contributing.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who donated, give yourselves a pat on the back because it couldn't have been possible without you.
That's true. It's very true. And see, if we're able to do this, who knows what else we can do as fans. We all join together.
Definitely.
All right, Carol, are you ready for the hot seat?
No, but I guess we're going to have to do it anyway.
We'll take you kicking and screaming.
Yeah, kicking and screaming. Oh, I'm sure I'll get into it once we start. Oh, wait, that reminds me of a story, and that reminds me of another story, and that reminds me of that story. Just put it, put me on the microphone, and I'll just go blah, 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 blah. Maybe I'll stop interrupting future guests now. Get it all out of my system.
Trust me, you were not the main problem with that.
I appreciate the vote of confidence.
All right, well, let's get into this interview.
So, as many of you know, my name is Carole Lee. I've lived in the Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley area for all 30 years of my life. Being in Los Angeles, you tend to, it doesn't happen as often as other people who don't live in California / Los Angeles would think. But when it does, it's still pretty cool. You meet celebrities and stuff. Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, my internet username. I've been thinking about this, and I can't really remember the moment that Gargoyles came into my life. I know that there was a time before Gargoyles existed, and then there's the time where Gargoyles was just there. I honestly cannot remember if I managed to watch this show from the beginning on the Disney afternoon. That's how I primarily saw it. But whether or not I saw the pilot there for the first time, I honestly can't remember. My earliest memory, I think, is the TV Guide. Back when the TV Guide was this tiny little digest thing that came out weekly or every 2 weeks or so, and there was an article in it about gargoyles, and I believe we have confirmed that this TV Guide article actually existed, and I'm not hallucinating or anything, but the author of the article was talking to her son or her daughter about it, and the boy had said, it's a story about outsiders. And I honestly can't remember whether I had been watching the show before I read the article or if I started watching the show because of the article. But, once that happened, I was just hooked. My family dynamic at the time, it was broken, I guess. My parents were, they were threatening to separate. Well, I say threatening. They did separate. So I was, I was not a happy child. So Gargoyles was my sanctuary. And when it was canceled, oh my God, it was like somebody had died in the house. Whether or not that's a healthy thing, I'll let the philosophers decide. But once my father left the house and got his own place, I distinctly remember doing a search. I think it was, my God, it was, would have been either the Lycos search engine. Not that anybody cares about that, but yes, I used the Lycos search engine to do a search for Gargoyles on Netscape Navigator and found GFW. No, that's not how it happened. I actually found the S8 chat room first, and I went in there as Gargoyles fan, and people were calling me Garg fan, and I thought that was pretty cool. But of course, this was before I actually learned how to use bookmarks and the power of bookmarks. So 2 weeks later, when I come back to be with my dad for the weekend, I can't find the website. So I do another search and I come up with GFW, and that's where I stayed for, my God, I think that I was a mainstay at GFW for 4 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it good times, definitely good times. I mean, it's unfortunate, a lot of the people that I met, the only person I actually still keep in touch with that went to GFW heavily is Ditaina, and I think that's adorable. Everybody else I have completely lost touch with, but I guess that just means, they've grown up and moved on or, Gargoyles just wasn't their thing. So it's kind of cool that I still have at least one person to talk about the old days with. So yeah, it was.
I do miss the old GFW website. I wasn't active. I was just on there a lot, but I never branched out to people. So it's like nostalgia still to hear about people talking about GFW website.
Yeah, I actually never really accessed the website itself. It was always the chat room.
Was it?
I did go through the Gargoyle saga and I did read through those, but whenever I distinctly remember I'd get home and I go, oh, gee, what was it? Oh, I memorized the website. It was gargoyles-fans.org, and I would always type that in. I go, yes, to go to play, and it's where I learned how to role play and how to write. Whether or not I write well, I'll let other people decide that, because I'll always say I write like crap. But yeah, but yeah, that's where Guardian was born. That's where I learned about the cardinal sin of Mary Sue's, and among other things. And it's been a good ride. It's been a very good ride.
That's awesome. I'm going to bring you back to the actual show, and then I'll ask you more about your role playing. But when you watched the show, did you have a favorite episode, or were you especially drawn to a specific character?
I've said before that I love Vinny because he's the everyman, but I've been thinking, I mean, who really? And I'm beginning to realize, as much as he scares the living shit out of me, I like Dr. Anton Savarius. His amorality, his complete lack of ethics, it just chills me to the bone.
And so you like more of the character who's not, I'm not going to say cookie cutter because none of these characters are cookie cutter, but you actually like the villain more than anything.
I think I do. I mean, I don't know if it's just because the whole science aspect, genetics testing, genetics and cloning was kind of a big thing in the 90s. I mean, you had, I think, what was it, Dolly the sheep, I think?
Yeah, Dolly.
The first clone ever made. So that was a whole big thing. And I remember, in middle school and high school doing those blasted persuasive essays about how we should allow cloning body parts or, stuff like that. Science has always fascinated me, any branch of science, just about. So having someone who goes, let's do this, and, have no ethical boundaries whatsoever, it scares the shit out of me. And yet it makes Savarius so, pardon my language, damn fascinating. I say part of my language for damn, but I don't say anything for shit. But it's just, it's like, what else is he capable of? It's fascinating. Greg Weisman left that question open for every single one of his characters. But I think, if Anton Savarius were to ever, he's paired with Xanatos, who's, you could basically consider, Xanatos is the brains, who's directing Savarius, and then Savarius is like, oh, cool, I'm in a science lab, science! And, but if he ever had any goal for, like domination in mind, whether or not we actually do that, whether or not we actually see that happen, especially with the ideas in future tense with the Thalog shock troops. But if he ever really wanted to do that, I think he would be quite capable of doing that, and oh my god, we're screwed.
Did you ever wonder, when Anton has such a brilliant mind, like what his draw was for working under other people? I mean, maybe it was just the dollar amount he was paid, but really, when you think about it, like all the villains, he's really capable of taking over. I mean, he could have done just about anything, don't you think?
Hell, he probably could have. Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because I'm just thinking, okay, so Anton Savarius, I mean, did he ever have a quote-unquote regular job like the rest of us, flipping burgers or waiting on tables? And if he did, how the hell would he have stomached that?
I just see him as one of those, like, eerily intelligent children who just went straight on to doing, like, lab work. Like, he never had the McDonald's job, ever.
There you go. He was probably picked out by what was the NSA in the 90s? I don't know, with the FBI or the CIA?
Right.
Yeah. It's entirely possible. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
So in addition to the science aspect of it, what else did you like about the show?
The sense of camaraderie. The idea that, and I know tons of people will agree with me here. You know, the idea these gargoyles have been plucked from their world and basically drop kicked 1,000 years into the future, and they're kind of they're figuring out how to survive. And just like many of us, you know, we were harassed, we were bullied, we had shit going down at home, parents separating, you know, everything was in a flux. So you have this one show which is a lifeline for almost an entire generation of children, anybody who had the wherewithal to watch it, and to have them. I mean, a lot of people that we've interviewed, and kind of myself included, and people that I've spoken to, you know, off the air and such. You know, a lot of these people credit this show with saving their lives, and I'm certainly no exception. Definitely to a lesser extent, but you know, if it hadn't been for the show, if it hadn't been for the fandom that I found online, if it hadn't been for the stuff that we do now, I would not be who I am today. I probably would still be alive, but I would be a far more bitter, angrier person, and I probably would not have as many contacts and friends as I do online.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, I'm a nicer person because of gargoyles.
I think we all are. I'm just going to put that out there. I think we all are. Well, in that case, can you tell us more about your OCs, your original characters that you've created through the years?
Oh God. I'm just, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, if we can, Carole, if we can at some point, you're going to probably want to put like here, you can jump to the end of that because, oh my God, I got a boatload to say about my OCs. As I alluded to in our previous 13.1 podcast, you know, you've got archetypes and stuff. I didn't realize this at the time, but when I first entered the GFW chat room for the first time, I realized, okay, I don't want to be called Gargoyles fan all the time, but what the heck should I call myself? And I just thought about it for a little while. I can't exactly remember how long this is. Okay, I'll just name myself Guardian. Why the heck not? So I type in Guardian, and I have her come in, and she lands and all that stuff. And immediately I'm told I'm an imposter. I'm like, what, dude? I can change my name if you want me to. And it was, you know, back during the day, you know, you get hazed, so you have to haze somebody. So it lasted for about 2 sessions, and everything was fine. It's like, hey, cool, it's Guardian. Hey, Guardian, what's up? But I didn't realize it at the time. It's because I didn't have a Guardian of my own, so I therefore became a Guardian for everybody else or for other people. It wasn't until sometime between 2003 when I first started seeing a therapist, and let me think, I would say around between 2007 and 2010 that I realized just how much of an impact Guardian had on my life. Like I said, my family dynamic was broken. My parents had separated, and you know, for a child of any age, and even an adult, that's fairly traumatic. And for someone who, you know, for a 10-year-old child who doesn't know anything else in the world, it's basically life ending. So to be able, what I realized later in my therapy sessions, to have been able to create a coping mechanism, regardless of whether or not it's actually a healthy one, but to have created a coping mechanism in a role play character that I could use as basically a surrogate mother, that's pretty freaking awesome. Brains are weird, but they are freaking awesome. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of argue, you know, sometimes archetypes aren't all that bad. If you accept that an OC of yours is primarily an archetype, use it. The Guardian is an archetype of mother. Sci-Fi is an archetype of courage and rage. DC, I guess you could say she's an archetype of innocence and fun and stuff, but despite the fact of having created the cardinal sin of, oh my God, all 3 of these characters are Mary Sue's in some fashion. But honestly, I've come to a point where I just go, dude, I don't care. I created these characters because I needed them, and now they continue to have adventures in my head, floating around in my head. I don't really write the adventures anymore because they don't include anybody else's OCs, and if they do, it doesn't really last very long. But yeah, they're happy, and I'm happy, and I certainly, again, you know, I owe a lot of my current worldviews and philosophies to the fact that I created these characters, and just, you know, through the therapy I used to take.
And I'm going to comment, you know, just kind of tying in. I don't think that your characters were like Mary Sue per se. I always say that I think that original characters are made of a part of yourself, and usually it's the part of yourself that you need to express. So I don't know. I've read your stories. I think your characters are pretty awesome. Well, Guardians. I don't know about the others. Do you have stories about them?
Yes, I do have some stories on DeviantArt of GC and Sci-Fi.
Okay.
Those are all very close, far more close to a Mary Sue than Guardian is. Sci-Fi and GC are me, basically. Yes.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll have to check those
Sci-Fi
out.
was the person who lived in, you know, the Doom and the Duke Nukem 3D video games, and then GC was basically is God, and she comes in and she goes, "Hey, cool, it's my characters." And then when the characters realize, "Oh wow, she is responsible for all the crap I've had to endure,"
Oh,
they decide to, you know, try and offer.
oh my.
Yeah, they're like, "What? You know, it's." I've been speaking with somebody in the Team Fortress 2 fandom who created a character that I think would work wonderfully in my Twin Realm stories. And they said, "Here, can you give me a treatment of your characters?" I go, "Oh my God, how do you make a treatment of a Mary Sue?" So I've been working on that. And that's been interesting.
Let me know when you come up with that.
Well, as of this point, I believe half of GC's treatment is done in a DeviantArt stash. I'm not sure if that's accessible. I'll certainly continue working on it.
Cool.
Yeah, I love the idea of nowadays a lot of my stories. I think I've said it before. I basically take the fourth wall and I pulverize it using a wrecking ball that's covered in C4, and the machine there's a shark driving the machine. That's basically what it is. And, you know, the shark's giving you the thumbs up. He's got the little hard hat and the glasses on, and he's just swinging that wrecking ball, and boom! No more fourth wall.
You should upgrade your shark to Sharknado. I'm just saying.
You know? But then if it's a tornado, how is he going to be able to drive the machine?
True.
Yeah.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point.
And those machines, those are some pretty big machines. And with the stories that float around in my head, I mean, I don't know if I should go into this, but Twin Realms started as Rift War at GFW, and for anybody who Taina probably knows what Rift War was. She didn't participate much, but it was basically the germination of the idea is, okay, so what if I could actually interact with my characters, and boom, there's a big rift between the two worlds, and we have to save the world by, you know, killing all of the bad guys that we play in our video games, and oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. And it for a teenager, it was marginally successful, but the idea stuck with me. The idea that, you know, you can go and hang out with you could go hang out and have a brewski with Vinny after work, and he could tell you about his day. It's like, oh my God, this crazy web thing came in and swooped me off my bike, and now my bike's destroyed. And you know, you're just sitting there having a brewski. Go, my God, man, how's the insurance gonna pay for that? And you're just sitting there, you know, having your brewski. You go, yeah, I saw how that happened. Sorry about your insurance, man. That's what I like about OCs, and you know, that sort of, like I said, pulverizing the fourth wall. That's what I like to do most in my stories.
And then you did mention that you had role played with at least Guardian. Did you role play with any of the others?
Yes. I remember Guardian was the first character I'd created, and then as I became a little more aware of how role playing works, I kind of, you know, I went down the Mary Sue path. Sci-Fi was my next character, who was essentially me, you know, playing around in the Doom and Duke Nukem universe, and was basically Guardian's sidekick. You know, every big superhero has to have the kid sidekicks that you can, you know, what was it? The Oatmeal once compared the protagonist of Twilight and named her Pants. Basically, Mary Sue's are pants. So you can wear pants, and you can be the pants, and you can do whatever you want in the pants. And it doesn't matter who the character actually is. The character is you, and you can, you know, hang out in the pants. So that's what I did with Sci-Fi, and then I decided Sci-Fi actually had a sidekick of her own at one point. It was a little It was a little robot the size of an 8-ball, and people loved him to pieces. He was adorable, and he comes in cameos every now and again. And then, of course, I brought in myself, and things just kind of took off from there.
That's awesome. How long did you role play?
It was at least 4 years. I believe 98 to 2002. As we are all, children in those days, and, drama happens. I remember the exact day that I actually said goodbye to GFW. It was actually my birthday, June 11th, 2002. And I said, okay, I gotta get out of this.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, at the time it was horribly traumatizing and stuff, but I look back and I go, it had to happen. And
it had to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know where the spiritual ties our listeners lied to, but yeah, I firmly believe there is some kind of metaphysical force out there that's totally got my back. And at that point it was saying, girl, you gotta say goodbye to these people because they are just totally cramping your style, yo. Okay? So, and meanwhile, I'm just sitting there, oh my God, typing out my goodbye message, and the metaphysical force going, it's okay, girl, it's okay, I got your back, you can get through this, you got through your parents' divorce, you can get through this. Mm-hmm. So, apologies to anybody who actually speaks using that kind of an accent. That's just how I see God talking to me whenever, I'm being taught a lesson. I find God to be a very sarcastic individual.
He's got to have a sense of humor, right?
You would think. I mean, with all the crazy crap that we do on this planet, I mean, what's the name of the Facebook? God has a Facebook page, right? And what did he say? He said, "I'll trade you Leonard Nimoy and I can't remember who else it was. I think it might have been Terry Pratchett for Khloe Kardashian and Justin Bieber." And he said, "If you do that, we're cool. All debts are paid." And I was like, "Yeah." Not that a guy on Facebook can actually be God and stuff, but the idea. It was the idea.
It's the idea of it.
Yes.
With your role playing, or even without your role playing, have you ever been part of a fan clan?
Oh, this is a funny story.
Okay.
For those of you that are familiar with the times back then, yes, there were a whole bunch of clans. There was Emanon, there was Mini Clan, there was the Can Clan. I think there was Gargoyles, there was Arcadia. And I finally applied to Emanon right, I think, as clans were going out of style. The person who was manning the Emanon website, I think it was just weeks out of going on a missionary trip. So I submitted, pardon me, and I was told later that the vote to bring me in had been unanimous. I was like, dude, that's awesome! And I kept waiting for the page to update, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting. And then somebody else got updated. I was waiting again, and waiting, and waiting. And I never actually got a listing on the Emanon website for Guardian. So whether or not I'm actually part of a clan, I have no idea.
But you think you are?
One of the, back in the day, one of those lurkers. You know what I mean when yeah, okay. So the lurker said, yeah, the vote was pretty much unanimous. It's like, yay! And it's not happening. And okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually remember, I think it was the 2001 gathering. People were talking on GFW about, well, maybe not the 2001, maybe it was the 2000. No, it had to have been the 2001 about, bringing Gargoyles Olympics and people.
I think I remember. Sorry, go on. I think I remember hearing snippets of that conversation. I wasn't at the gathering, but I remember hearing snippets of that.
Oh, this was, I can't remember if they actually did it because I didn't actually attend the entirety of 2001 because I didn't have a car at the time and I was at the mercy of my mom's driving abilities, which are fine. She has fine driving abilities, but the whole idea of, being a geek and going to a convention and talking to people was completely new to her as it was new to me, but I was far more excited about it than she was. So we stayed for about 2 hours. She goes, okay, it's time to go. And I go, okay.
Oh,
but it was in the GFW chat rooms. I can't remember who was bringing it up, but it's like, so yeah, it would be kind of cool if we had people from various clans talk, participate in these, silly little relay races. And I remember I typed in the action, shoots hands up, but then kind of lowers it because, I was accepted into Emanon, but they stopped updating the page, so I don't know what that means. And then somebody called me on it. I was like, oh, they said, oh, you're part of Emanon, but you're not on the page. And I go, I can't help you with that. They told me that I'm in, but then the page
But
never
then they
updated. So I don't know.
updated.
You know, take my words with as many or as few grains of salt as you want. That I'm just telling you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good times. Good times.
Well, that can bring me into your next question. Tell us about your experiences with the gatherings.
Oh, those were the single most fun experiences I have ever had. I've said many times that I would never trade those experiences for the world, and that stays true now. As I've said in the past, you know, curse my financial ineptitude with, you know, not going to Convergence, and I'm realizing now it's because I just don't know how to plan. Forget the finances, I don't know how to plan anything. So even if I had, you know, $1,000,000,000, I still probably wouldn't have gone because I just don't know how to plan. So it is to my regret that I did not manage to go to any gatherings that were held outside of California / the Los Angeles area. But I am certainly thankful and grateful that I had the opportunity to attend the ones that I did, especially the last one in 2009. That was a very touching one. And I actually convinced one of my coworkers to come with me. She flew in from Boston where she was working at the time. And, you know, she bunked in my room and we went all 3 days. And then another person who I'd actually gotten back in touch with through Neopets of all things. Are
Okay.
either of you familiar with that website?
I know of them, but I don't really have any interaction with it, I guess.
Neither do I anymore. But the person just sent me, you
Okay.
know, saying, "Hey, did you used to role play in, you know, this kind of fandom universe?" I go, "Oh my God, yes, I did." And we kind
Mm-hmm.
of had a falling out. I think I was, you know, the bitter, angry, emo kid at the time, and you know, lashed out. And I realized that, and I go, you know, hey, I was kind of a bitch to you, and I'm sorry. She said, dude, I don't even
Oh,
remember. So
yeah.
I told her about the Gargoyles gathering. I said, it's the last one, and hey, if you can get yourself here, I'll pay for your registration. And at the door, it was like about $75. So I said, you know,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you've got to experience this at least once in your life. So I managed to get her to get his person's registration in, and they managed to enjoy it, and they had a whole lot of fun too. And I'm really happy with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a big heart you have.
Oh shucks. Of course, I had money at the time too, but you know, I figured,
Right.
hey, where else am I going to put it? You know, bills and comics and stuff. Finally, getting rid of my Magic the Gathering collection too. Whew, that's a lot of stuff to
Wow.
go through. Yeah,
Yeah, I bet.
yeah. I'm trying to get money to tender to my latest obsession, cosplaying.
Oh. So
Yes,
you're gonna have some cosplays to show us soon?
not of gargoyles, sadly. I'm not that creative, not yet, anyway.
Okay.
It's for the other portion of my obsessions, the gaming, Team Fortress 2.
Oh, okay. I've seen some of those on your Facebook.
Yes, the my cover photo is now of the people that I met at the Long Beach Comic Expo, which I actually went because of the Gargoyles panel, and that was a lot of fun. And then I saw them, I was like, "Hey, you guys looking for an engineer?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." So we met at WonderCon, which was a couple months later, and I had an
Uh-huh.
absolute blast. So I'm going to be trying to meet up with those guys again later on and see what goes from there. So yeah, why did I never do this sooner? Because I didn't have money and didn't know how to plan, but wow, why did I never do this sooner?
Well, I'm excited to see what else you come up with because I did see the cosplays that you posted.
Well, thank you very much. They were definitely a lot of fun. And definitely shout out to Josh Haas. And I apologize, Josh, if I mispronounced your last name, but Hazardous Laboratories with 2 A's. He is fantastic. If anybody happens to see the photos of the Southern Hospitality I commissioned of him on Facebook, oh my God, he built that stuff from scratch.
Really?
Yes, I kid you not. You can see the work in progress photos that he posted on his Hazardous Laboratory website. And then when I got it the day before WonderCon, that I went to WonderCon, I was traipsing around the house saying, "Hey, look, buddy, I'm an engineer. That means I solved." And I was as happy. I was like a kid in a candy store, or you know, a kid in the KB aisle where the Gargoyles toys were.
Oh, KB, back in the day.
Oh yes, oh yes. Those were good times.
So you did mention that you had written a few fan fictions, and we've talked about it. So what's your story as a fan fiction writer? What do you mostly focus on? Do you use your OCs, or do you tend to use the main characters?
The only time I've ever used the main characters were, when I was a kid and I was making the characters fit to the story, if you like what we talked about previously. And none of those have ever been published. The only published, posted online. The only one that I ever posted online was actually based on a role play that I did with Ditaina within her Timeless Love universe. The idea of which, where instead of things playing out as they did, Oberon punishes Goliath for throwing the Phoenix Gate into itself by sending him to a time on Earth at the beginning of life, I believe, or beginning of time. So he is about 4.5 billion years old when we see him again in her stories. And we just one day we decided to start role playing, and we just made a whole series of stories. And I was actually taking notes as opposed to saving the role play log. I was actually writing on a piece of paper what we were doing, and I put that into prose. And I thought that was a pretty fun exercise. And that's what I did later on with the Silly Twin Realms Rift War, and that's essentially how most of my role playing has gone. I perform the role play, and then I turn the role play into prose, readable prose, as opposed to a script.
Okay. No, that's really cool. And it is a great exercise. And you were just getting into the fandom at the time you did all that, right?
Right. Timeless Love, I guess you could say, was really the one and only fanfic I ever did. Everything else is the whole fourth wall breaking, fourth wall pulverizing stuff that I do with Twin Realms now, which is a fanfic of just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the pull there is it's a different audience.
That's awesome. I know we talked about this a little earlier, but any plans for another fan fiction story?
Well, that's the thing. I'm realizing now that and yes, this is a completely conspicuous ploy to get people to look at my stuff. Give me comments, for the love of God, please. I need your feedback. I have no comments on any of my stories, really. And I'm not saying that I have to have them, but the thing is, if I don't get them, there's no point in me writing anything else. So, and I understand, what I write is not exciting to everybody, and that's okay. I accept that. But people ask, oh, you got anything else coming up? And I go, well, nobody really seems to give a shit, so no. I feel bad saying that, but that's kind of how it is. So yes, if you want to see more shit from me, check out the shit I already have on DeviantArt. Pardon my language. and I'll even take, oh my God, this is crap. You call yourself a writer. I'll go, hey, at least it's feedback. As I'm standing here at my computer screen with my thumbs up, and I go, and my derpy grin.
Read my stuff.
Basically, if people want to see, how, and this actually may be more frightening than it sounds, but if you want to see how my brain works and how, I do all this crazy fourth wall pulverizing stuff, read the stuff and give me feedback, and then I'll be inclined to write more. But otherwise, it's kind of a feast or famine type thing.
We'll keep that in mind. I think that's how all writers feel, though. If you're not getting the feedback, positive or negative, maybe it does cause a little bit of lack of motivation to post more. I mean, you can always have the stories, for you, but it doesn't make you really post more.
Well, like I said many times, where I am in my life with the characters I've created, which are basically archetypes, they and I am more than happy to keep the stories floating around in my head, because I know how they begin and end and all that stuff. But, getting onto the computer and typing that stuff out and then putting it online and not getting, any feedback is like, well, what's the point? We are very happy to continue playing our little games inside your brain if nobody else but you are going to be commenting on them. So that's kind of how it goes. Again, I feel bad for saying this, because it's basically it is not a thinly veiled ploy to get you to read my stuff. It is a ploy to get you to read my stuff. But I can't make you read my stuff, fair listeners, fair ladies. So, but yeah. I feel terrible having said that, but that is just how it is.
I think you're super funny, and at least you're truthful. I mean,
let's
face it.
And it took me a very long time to get to a point where, what, I am comfortable enough with myself to sound like, the pleading idiot I'm coming off as. And you know what? That's That's just what it is. I am being a pleading idiot. I want people to look at my stuff and tell me if it's good or bad. At least I know.
Right? At least you would know.
Yes.
Well, I've read it and it's very, very good. But I know you look for other people besides just me because I know you. And when you get your friends' feedback, you're kind of like, well, yeah, but they're my friend. But at the same time, your friends should be honest. I think it's very good.
Well, thank you very much. That could give me what I need to, post a little more.
Well, good. Get writing. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
You're also a lot like me in that instead of, doing a lot of your own artwork, you are one of the people who purchases commissions. You have quite a collection. Could you tell us a little bit about them?
Artsy abilities. I like to tell myself that my creative abilities exist in the world building and the stories I write. So no artsy stuff here. But over the years, whenever I went to a gathering, and especially in 2009, I commissioned as many people as I possibly could to get stuff of Guardian. And that is the bulk of my collection. And now that I visit the Galaxy of Comics in Van Nuys, whenever they've had an artist there, I've always attempted to get a Guardian commission from them. And the stuff that comes from these people, a lot of these people they're either just starting out or they're well known in the industry. And it's just, wow. It's so pretty. I love being able to get various people to do commissions of Guardian and just looking at the differences, the different things that people do. I like to say I'm easy when it comes to the commissions, but you could also interpret that as being wishy-washy. As long as Guardian looks like Guardian, which is basically an anatomical clone of Brooklyn. You got the beak and the horns and the triangular wings and the little claws. You can do whatever the heck else you want with her, as long as it, is tasteful and stuff. And when I let the artists do what they want, the results are astounding. So I've taken a very, what's the word? For lack of a better term, a very wishy-washy form when I commission these people. I give them the basics, I show them the references. I've said it before, I have a binder full of Guardians and I take it with me wherever I go for commissions and stuff. Say, here are my references, have fun. Because I realize, granted, I'm paying them to do something, but the whole idea of having a job is if you're paid to do what you love, that's even better, right? So if I can make these people enjoy the experience as much as I enjoy the product, yay, everybody's happy.
I don't think that's being wishy-washy. I take a very laid-back approach, too. I also want her to look, if I fiction a character, I want the character to look the way that I envision them. But at the same time, I really like to see other artists' interpretations of how my characters are. So I think it's almost nicer to be laid back. I don't know. I'm not an artist, so I don't know how detailed you want people to be.
You're a better artist than I am, I'll tell you that.
Me?
Yes.
I don't think I am.
Well, you have artwork on your DevArt page, right?
Yeah, I do.
See, I don't. It's all literary. Well, I have those silly little doodles, but that's it. That's not even, fan art. That's abstract. I can do abstract very well. Abstract is awesome, but, anything more intense than that, nope. All those art classes for nothing. Actually, no. I learned that I'm not a fine art artist. I'm literal, maybe, but not fine art.
Art class taught me that I needed to work harder, and then I never did. So there you go, people. Practice, practice. Yeah. But no, I don't know. I think it's easier just to be laid back and then just let the artist have fun with it. So
that's what I like to do. Yeah, I guess
that's my philosophy.
Saying wishy-washy, laid back. Here's the basic outline of what I'm looking for, and you have fun. She can be writing Grimlock for all I care, but have fun and make sure it's within my budget.
Right. Well, what do you think of the Gargoyles fandom as a whole? I'm going to totally turn the tables on you. So what do you think of the fandom?
I would not want to be part of any other fandom. And I'm actually not. It's only very recently that I've kind of started inserting myself in the Team Fortress 2 stuff that's available on DeviantArt, and even then, it's very oh crap, I can't think of the word. Kind of like how Marlin is in Finding Nemo when he's popping out of his anemone home. He goes, you go out and then you go back in. You go out and then you go back in. So I'm not really ready to, stick myself out there and say, hey, everybody from Team Fortress 2, what's up? But whereas with Gargoyles, I've been with you guys, I want to say more or less since the beginning, or at least since the beginning of the online fandom. And it's the camaraderie, and I even said it, when Gargoyles celebrated its the oh my god, the 20th anniversary of its first airing. I mean, the camaraderie, the empathy, the compassion, the passion, just everybody here is inherently good. I mean, you've got snarky assholes, but they wear that badge with pride. And it's not that they're a troll. They're just, they don't suffer fools. And I like that about those people because they want reality. They want the truth. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And what I like is, we've got this, and the other side of the coin could be, people may see this as, almost, I guess you could say cult-like, but it's really, we're here for everybody. And we get really offended if somebody starts rubbing us the wrong way, and a lot of people the wrong way. And I'm sure everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to name names because you know what I'm talking about. And it's the up until these past 2 years, I've never really been, quote unquote, a victim of internet hate and stuff. I've always kind of been on the outskirts. It's just kind of, oh man, that sucks that that's not happening to you. I'd add my 2 cents and stuff, but I was never really involved in it. And now it's like, wow, we actually really do look out for each other, and we actually really give a flaming lug nut about each other. And I'm proud to be able to say that about anybody. And the fact that I can say that about people that I have never actually physically met and may likely never will, it's almost mind-boggling. The way that our worlds have changed because of the internet and because of media and just how accessible anything and everything is just wow. That's all I can say. Wow, that's cool.
Would you have ever thought when you were first starting the fandom that it would be the universe that it is? You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
yeah. I mean, granted,
everybody.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say everyone is so, and you summed it up the best. I mean, everyone is so interconnected. Everybody just has that tight, almost clan-like feeling. I don't think it's cult. I think it's, these are my family, and I'm going to put my back out for them. Yep.
And I certainly apologize to anybody I may have offended by saying cult. Anybody, and it's kind of the relationship I had with my mom. She'd hear me talking or chatting for hours and go, how the heck can you bring yourself to do that? And I go, because I can. There's nothing, I don't see anything wrong with it. It'd be like me, hanging out on the schoolyard playing handball with friends that I didn't actually have because they were all online. And it's fascinating the way these things work out. Wow, I completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, if I had any inkling when I was, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, that things would continue as they have, I go, really? Really? You gotta be funning me, you big crazy woman, you who's supposedly me from the future. And it's fascinating how these things have panned out. And what really showed me, or at least, proved to me that the Gargoyles fandom in and of itself is just awesome. In and of itself is, and I apologize for anybody that I'm dredging up horrible memories with, but it was 9/11. I actually distinctly remember people were talking in GFW about conspiracy theories, and I was getting really uncomfortable. And I said, hey guys, can we, talk about something else? And people were saying, no, this is what we want to talk about. And I said, okay, fine. I'm the odd man out, so I'm going to go over to S8. And what were they talking about at S8? Who can I donate my blood to? What's the nearest place that I can donate my blood to so that any survivors of 9/11 have blood. And I was just, I mean, these people are from Canada, they're from the West Coast, they're from the East Coast, they're from across the pond. And just the fact that they were talking about what they could do as opposed to, you know, what it may mean was quite comforting to me. And this isn't to say that, you know, this is a detriment against GFW. I've always argued that GFW was kind of the, you know, the, I guess you could call it the ball pit of S8's, you know, cafe, you know, where cool stuff happened. And then GFW was like, you know, you could call S8 the McDonald's where, you know, the parents were talking, and then GFW was the place that, was the play area. And I'm not saying either one is bad. That's just what it was.
No, I know, but it's so true. That's
yeah, and I mean, hey, this is coming from someone who stayed in GFW and who barely ventured into S8 for the 4 years that I did my major role playing, and it was only later on that I realized, oh yeah, there's kind of a there's a difference here, and it's
there's
you know
a big difference.
Yeah, neither good or bad. It was just an observation, but you know, I wouldn't change my experiences for the world. But yeah, I think GFW was definitely the place of the McDonald's, and S8 was where the parents, you know, going, oh my God, why do I have to take my kids to these places? Why do I have to eat this crap food? At least you guys are here with me. We can commiserate, and yeah.
It's really true. I was GFW more than S8, and now I look back and it's like I appreciate them both for what they are. And but you're right. It's the best analogy ever.
It just kind of, you know, I just pulled it out of my butt right now, but it's like, you know, it works. It works. Back when those fast food joints had places like that. I keep thinking of the McDonald's near me with the huge place and the huge ball pit. It's like, yes, this is, you know, this is heaven to a child. So, you know, take that as you will.
We still have one up here, and I don't want Bennett to age, but I can't wait until I can bring Bennett to that. Not because I want to eat food, but because he'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Just be sure to take him to parks every now and then too, please. Because there aren't many parks in my area. Okay, thank God. Okay.
Oh,
we're good.
Our backyard has a park.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Yeah, we don't really have much stuff like that in California, at least in the San Fernando Valley, unfortunately.
Well, here in the Midwest, we have some green spaces. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was an article, because I don't know, some of you may know, apparently California has been in a drought for the past, I don't know, 3 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to get, the city, at least in my area, has been trying to get people to rip out their lawns. And they've been, at times, they've paid maybe $2 a square foot, $1 a square foot. I've heard even $5 a square foot for you to rip out your front lawn and put in drought-resistant landscape or just concrete over it. Because we can't have those lawns anymore. And there have been articles in the papers, the local papers recently saying, oh yeah, we're just figuring this out, but Las Vegas knew that a long time ago.
That's so very true.
Kind of, come on guys, get on the ball. You want to be able to drink water? Don't feed it to your plants. Or at least feed it to plants that don't need as much as you do. Mm-hmm. That's my political stance.
When I would go to Reno, it was the same thing. It the area that we stayed in, they did not have yards. They had dirt pits, pretty much, and then rock gardens. Yeah.
And, hey, rock gardens are cool. I love.
They are. They're really cool.
Rock gardens and, you know, drought resistant landscaping and stuff. So I just feel bad, you know, when my dog doesn't have any grass to play on, but you know, I want to be able to stay alive to be able to feed her and get food for her. So, you know, that means no grass, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
It's always
sacrifices
the dog park.
Must be made. Yeah.
Yes. Sacrifices must be made.
Any comments or shout outs to all your followers?
I have followers?
You
that's
totally
right.
do.
I have fans apparently. So, okay, who was my first fan? Apparently, Carole's sister or friend?
Yeah, my sister is fan of yours.
So, hi, Carole sister. You're adorable for liking my voice. I love you to pieces. And then everybody in the fandom. You know, from the big names to the people who are just coming in. I mean, if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. Oh, not that my mom is ever going to listen to this, but definitely shout out to my mom, because if it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't be who I am today either. Shout out to the therapist that I used to see, who also is not going to listen to this. Shout out to the psychiatrist I see, who's also not going to listen to this, but all in spirit, seriously, if it hadn't been, and I'm realizing, it takes a clan. It takes a clan to grow, for yourself, for you to grow. And if it hadn't been for all of these people, I would not be who I am today. Am I, perfect today? Hell no. But I am a lot better off than I was 10 years ago. And I am deeply thankful for everybody who has been in my life, both in my physical, personal environment and in my virtual environment online. If it weren't for any of you guys, I would not be who I am today, and I would not be here, and I would not be Mama Bear for Rare Breed, the gaming clan I'm a part of. I love that gaming clan to pieces. So for those of you who have allowed me to, be myself, my silly little derpy self, I salute you and I thank you for putting up with me. Because
That's one of
you
the
got
best shout outs ever.
Oh, thank you.
It's funny
No,
because I had my sister online just before the meeting, and she told me that to say hello to both of you, and she said, oh, but they maybe don't know who I am, and your shout out just, I think she will just jump out when she.
Yeah, I made somebody happy. Woo! My job is done. That's all I care about.
You can go back to bed.
Yay!
All right. Even though you're part of the podcast, any suggestions for us?
Well, I didn't realize this originally, but apparently a lot of listeners have said, "Oh my God, make it shorter." And to you, I say thank you, because you have voiced that which I could not put my finger on before. Because it's awesome. I love doing the podcast, but I don't want to be up at 9 to 12 doing it, once a month. Even though if it's just once a month, I can't do that to myself. I've got ADD, I've got OCD, I've got clinical depression. I take meds for all this stuff. I cannot sit at at this computer desk for 3 hours straight talking. I mean, strangely enough, I do it anyway, but usually I'm gaming and, virtually killing things and getting virtually killed and stuff is happening. But here I don't even have a webcam. So even, I think if I got myself a webcam, that'd be easier. But yes, if we can make these, segmented, so interview in one episode and then everything else in another episode, I would love you girls forever. Not that I don't already.
I think we're already trying to implement that. I think we were all realizing.
Oh, hallelujah!
Yeah, I think we were all realizing how long they were getting, and it's not that we don't want to sit and talk. It's just, we have things to do. I mean, I have a toddler. I can't sit here for 3 hours. Carelle is pretty much ready for bed by the time we start recording. So
exactly. And
and you're just getting up. So
I was like coffee. I don't even drink coffee. So for those of you who have stuck with us through these long ass interviews and stuff, you have our heartfelt thanks and our gratitude. But hopefully now we realized, we're gonna try and work around your schedules.
Yes.
And ours.
Yes, we feel the winds of change as well. Well, any further questions? I mean, again, you're part of the podcast, so it's probably not really anything you'd have, but go for it. Open mic.
For once, I'm actually speechless. The timing, and I think we've got some good stuff going on here. And if anybody else wants to be interviewed, I'd say, drop me a line on Facebook.
Yeah, drop any of us lines. Absolutely.
Big people, that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we have quite a few people lined up, but that does not mean that we're aware of everybody out there. So if you want to be interviewed, or someone who wants to be interviewed and just hasn't wanted to contact us, or maybe feels a little funny like asking to be interviewed themselves, drop us a line. We're very available and we're ready to listen. So
and talk as we've seen.
And talk, as you can see.
Yeah. Sorry. Once you get me going, it's difficult to get me to stop. Sorry.
Awesome. Carole, you did great, and you survived.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, come on.
We couldn't have done it without you.
Shucks.
I don't even know how to end this. Let's just wrap it up.
What do they do in Monty Python? They just broke the Monty Python, the Holy Grail. They just, what did they do? Like kick the projector down?
They do.
And you're like, wow, okay then. Anyway,
well,
you guys have been awesome. Thank you for listening to me mouth off about anything and everything, and things that actually didn't necessarily matter, and some things that did. I salute you, and you have my deepest gratitude.
Well, thank you, and thanks everyone for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye!